Hi guys, just wanted to give a quick update on how my 90-day dopamine fast is going. So I think I'm on day 22 right now of the 90-day dopamine fast. And what I'm doing is I'm cutting out every kind of activity that will spike my dopamine too high. So for me, I'm cutting out any form of scrolling. So I haven't been on TikTok or Twitter, and I haven't watched any YouTube videos for these 22 days. That's one of the main things I've cut out. I've also cut out video games, and I've also cut out trading for the duration of this 90-day dopamine fast. So those are some of the things that really spike my dopamine really high. If you're planning on doing a dopamine fast yourself, your actual sources of dopamine might be different to mine. So this is just what I'm cutting out. So in terms of an update, so it's been 22 days. And really, I'm tracking this across multiple different metrics. So I'm tracking it across my physical performance and my mental performance are the main things I'm tracking. And I'm also just trying to measure my productivity, I guess, as well. So the first thing is my physical performance. So basically my heart rate and my HRV. So I've got an Aura ring. So I track my HRV and my heart rate every night. And basically what I saw for these 22 days is for the first week or two, my heart rate was a bit higher and my HRV was a bit lower. So HRV was up to 20% lower on some days, and heart rate was up to 2 or 3 beats higher. So that basically indicates that I was quite stressed doing this dopamine fast. My physical body was quite stressed doing the dopamine fast, more so than I would be on a regular day. So that's one thing I've been tracking. That's kind of balanced out now, and I've kind of returned to a level of HRV and heart rate that I was before I started the dopamine fast. So I haven't seen any benefits there yet, but that's kind of to be expected given that I'm only on day 22 right now. So basically I saw a dip for the first week or two, so my body was stressed. I've recovered from that dip now. And now, hopefully, in the next few weeks, in the next month or so, that's when I start seeing the gains in terms of HRV and my heart rate. And I'm also tracking this based on my mental performance as well. So I do brain training every single day. So I know what my mental sharpness is every day, basically. And basically it tracked the same as my physical performance. So basically, the first week or two, I saw a dip in my mental performance as well. But that's leveled off now, and now I'm slightly higher than I was before I started the dopamine fast. So I haven't seen massive gains in my mental performance, but I've seen a small improvement in my mental performance compared to where I was before I started the dopamine fast. And that's not too bad. Like I'm not going to complain about that. Like it's a small improvement, it's not much. But considering that I did have a dip for the first week or two, which is normal, I've recovered from that dip, and now I've reached a point where I'm a little bit above the baseline before I started the dopamine fast. So it's not too bad, but really the big gains in terms of mental performance should come really at the end of the dopamine fast. So really the last month or two of the dopamine fast is really when I should see the big gains in terms of mental performance. So because I'm only on day 22, really all I should have seen right now is the initial dip and then a return to baseline and maybe a slight improvement. And that's pretty much exactly what I have seen. So I guess I'm still on track in terms of that metric as well. One thing I have noticed is that these metrics have become far more volatile than they were before. And that's also to be expected in a dopamine fast. So basically, my heart rate and HRV and my mental performance on a day-to-day basis, they are more volatile and more prone to change depending on how much stress I have on a given day. So before the dopamine fast, like a medium amount of stress on a day due to business or something like that, or personal stress, they would slightly affect my HRV, my heart rate, and my mental performance on each day. But now during the dopamine fast, I've seen a bigger impact to mild stress in terms of those metrics. That is also to be expected because I'm only on day 22. So really, I am actually expecting those metrics to be more volatile during this period. And by the 90-day mark, they should be really stable and basically impervious to stress. Still, there would be like a slight reaction to stress, but basically what I'm aiming for is after the 90 days, I want my HRV to be a lot higher, my resting heart rate to be lower, and my mental performance to be a lot higher. And for these metrics to be far less volatile than they were before I started the dopamine fast. So basically more resilient to stress than they were before I started the dopamine fast. So at the moment, the opposite has happened. So they're more volatile. So a small or medium amount of stress throws these metrics out of whack more than it did before the dopamine fast. And that does actually make sense because my body is a bit stressed due to the dopamine fast itself. So then with a normal amount of day-to-day stress, I guess it would push me kind of over the top in terms of how much stress my body likes to endure on a given day. So it would push my HRV and my heart rate and my mental performance a bit lower than it would normally. So that's about it in terms of the metrics. So one other thing is the cravings. So the cravings for what I was doing before, I don't have too strong a cravings for what I was doing before. The main craving, I guess you could call it, comes from boredom, I guess, and boredom and wanting to fill that time with something exciting. So I do have a strange feeling pretty much every day, and it normally comes in the evening, and it's a strange feeling of not wanting to do anything and not enjoying anything at the same time, which, like, it does make sense to have this feeling because my dopamine receptors are down-regulated right now, I think. So basically my ability to generate an appropriate amount of dopamine from doing beneficial activities is too low, so that normal activities that should be enjoyable are simply not as enjoyable as they should be to me right now until I have completed this 90-day dopamine fast. So it's kind of a normal feeling, but it's a very strange feeling. Like, I've never had that feeling before other than during this dopamine fast. So it's a bit hard to explain. It's a combination of boredom, not wanting to do anything, and not enjoying anything at the same time. Very hard to explain. It mainly comes in the evening and late afternoon. In the morning, it's not really present. But yeah, again, this is something that kind of is to be expected at this point in the dopamine fast, because basically my body and my mind is still adapting. So I think that's kind of normal at this stage. One more thing I've noticed is that my brain seems to be trying to come up with other sources of artificial dopamine. So it's trying to trick me into getting artificial dopamine in other ways that I didn't before. So I haven't done any of the activities that I was before that I was getting the high spikes of dopamine from. So I haven't done any trading at all for these 22 days. I haven't done any scrolling on social media. I haven't even opened TikTok or Twitter. I haven't watched a single YouTube video. And I haven't done any gaming. So I've cut out all those. But my brain seems to be trying to get the same big spikes of dopamine from other sources. So I've noticed that I have a much stronger urge to simply just open my phone and not really do anything, just to open it and check to see if I've got any business messages or personal messages. The urge to open my phone just to check for those regular things is a lot higher right now, because I think my brain realized that it could get a medium amount of dopamine from these simple activities like just opening and checking my phone. So now it's built up a craving for that to try and fill the void of what I've cut out. So I have to be more vigilant for that right now. So I have to be careful just to make sure that I'm not opening my phone too much, and also just checking my email too much and things like this. Things that seem like they are productive, I found they were becoming a little bit compulsive in the last week, because I think my brain was trying to adapt and was trying to seek out other forms of excessive dopamine. So it's fine to get some amount of dopamine from checking your phone, seeing if you've got any messages, checking your email, but to do it excessively, like I have been, I think, in the last week, that's just my brain playing tricks on me and trying to get too much dopamine again. So I'm trying to be more vigilant on that. And if you're doing your own dopamine fast, that's something to be careful of. So basically, during these first few weeks, even during the first month or two of a 90-day dopamine fast, your brain will try and fill the void. Whatever you cut out, it will try and get artificial dopamine, excessive amounts of artificial dopamine from another source. So if you only cut out one thing, like if you only cut out scrolling on social media, your brain will probably trick you into starting to play video games or watching adult content or something like that. It will trick you into other forms of artificial dopamine. So that's something you need to really be vigilant of. And yeah, that's about it, guys. If you like this content, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Cheers, guys.